Today, there's so much in our lives that influences us, our environment, the people around us. Sometimes we don't even know what's influencing us, and that's what we're here to talk about. Welcome to the Influence Today podcast with Chet Tart and Terry Lyle.
Welcome to another edition of Influence Today with Chet Tart and Terry Lyles. Hi, Terry. Welcome back from vacation.
Great. Well, I don't know if it was vacation, but it was good. I was out of the country, but it was a little vacation, but it was also some work. And the driver we had on, Oliver Eskew, won 2 races while we were there in Toronto at the Toronto Indy, and that was great. And we just had a great time with some family, and now we're back here in the heat doing what we do.
And then we're going to talk about your new book that's coming out.
Yes. 3 weeks.
Life Under Pressure.
Almost. Performance under pressure, but it does involve with your life.
Right,
yeah,
exactly. And we have a special guest with us today, and we have Tay. Welcome.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited about today's show.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm glad you're here because I think it's time to talk about certain things that are going on in the community and also talk about things that are positive for our youth.
Yes, I love that.
And you're still youth, 28 years old.
Yeah, I feel old every day, but still pretty young.
We'll have you back when we're older. We'll talk.
Tell us, you have a nonprofit called Suits for Seniors.
Yes.
So when I first saw it and I first read about it, I thought, well, when they graduate, I guess they get a suit.
Right.
But you said it's a little deeper than that,
It's
correct?
a lot deeper than that.
And this came from your mind.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Laying in bed at night, trying to figure out how could I change the world. After graduating college, I realized it was so many things I wish I knew when I was a freshman, right? So many mistakes I made. And I realized there was nothing in high school, nothing in college to teach me the things that I really needed to be successful.
Well, give me an example. What do you mean by what you really needed?
Like learning what to do with my credit, how to boost my credit score. Like I need credit to buy a house, to get a car. All the little things that I wish I knew.
And they don't really teach you that in school.
Who's going to teach you that?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And just the company you keep, having a good group of friends around you that benefit you.
That's a big topic for me.
And so we don't really talk about that in school, or just leadership principles or how to be a great leader. And those things I use every single day to help my business, to help myself, and for personal growth.
Who influenced you on that? How did you know that?
So just to be a great person, I think my mom is the greatest influence because she was always about service. That's all she did. She worked with PAL, the Police Athletic League, and that's why I have a passion for law enforcement, because I've seen the relationship that it can build into. And I would say in today's time, I would say the state senator, Bobby Powell. He's super influential in my life and the direction I'm trying to go into.
Nice. Very good.
Okay, so you started talking to these people and all these topics started coming up and you're saying to yourself, why didn't I know this?
Right. Essentially, so the basic principles of just leadership, how to be a team player, how to be a visionary, or how to demand things when you need to demand those things, right? You're not going to take a class that's going to teach you that. So I wanted to make sure I taught kids their senior year in high school how to be a good leader, how to go to college and know how much college costs. If you're going to go $40,000 in debt, know what you're doing, right?
And make sure you take what's good for you, because when you get out, you've got to pay that back.
You got to pay that back. And people go get their master's degree and get $200,000 in debt.
Right.
Then they work at Publix.
Right.
Nothing's wrong with Publix.
Right.
But
I hear you.
You need to know where you're going.
Right.
And you have to be exposed to it, because the kids I work with, they're all Title I, right? So they come from low-income backgrounds. The family may not be stable. A lot of financial issues. So if they don't get that exposure, they're going to end up in that same cycle, potentially end up becoming criminals, and potentially making our society worse. So let's intervene now while we have the opportunity, instead of build more jail cells.
So this whole program comes from up here.
Right.
So tell me what you did. What is it?
I think it's just sitting in a room by yourself and thinking, how can you help the world? The issue we have, especially in my community, is the way that we come across people, image, appearance, the culture of hip hop. Just to be honest, I love hip hop. I listen to it every day. But if you are ingrained into it, you act and do certain things that I don't think is normal for normal society, right? The way you carry yourself. Having your pants below your butt, just to be realistic, right? I don't want to see that. I want to see my kids in tailored suits, thinking about how can I be an entrepreneur? How can I make $1 million? How can I change my community by block or neighbor by neighbor?
Okay, so when you came up with these ideas, did the schools welcome you with open arms? Did everyone say, this is great, come on in?
God willingly. Atlantic High School was the first school that let me in, open arms.
Tell us about Atlantic, because in case they don't know.
So Delray Beach, Atlantic High School is probably like a B+ school in a low income neighborhood, right? And all they're exposed to is football, right? And basketball and sports in general, entertainment.
Good football too, by
Good
the way.
football, great football.
We breed some good football players down here in South Florida.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the heat.
It is,
It's the
man.
heat. It's the heat. But everyone's focused on football and sports, and that's the only ticket for most individuals
To get out.
right? So we have to expose them to being entrepreneurs and how to go to college or how to get into a trade at least, or go into the armed forces. There's not too many options other than that.
Right.
So Atlantic, we had 75 students. We had the mayor, vice mayor come in, the bankers, judges, and they spoke to our kids. And that laid the foundation of how we got to 19 different schools from Jacksonville to Miami now.
That's nice. Yeah, tell us a little bit about the program.
Yeah, I'd like to know the program. And so when you walked in, did you have you been revising this program as you do it more and more?
Yeah,
and more?
so we had to revise it to the point that we have a curriculum now that any professional can kind of teach over it. So the first week is leadership. The second week is exploring colleges. What options do I have? The third week is scholarships. Now, how do I fund these potential options? And then we bring in law enforcement. So we try to get every chief and a judge or lawyer to come in and talk about both perspectives of how to avoid the criminal justice field and also how to become a law enforcement officer, right? Because we need more law enforcement officers, right, and public servants. And the fifth week is about domestic violence and mental health, because that's a topic that no one really talks about. So we have partnerships with NAMI, the National Association of Mental Institute, AVDA, which is Aid to Victims of Domestic Abuse. So we have partners, and then we talk about financial literacy. We have Chase, Capital One, Regions Bank. They come in, and they're talking about budgeting. They're talking about interest rates. They're talking about how to budget yourself for a month when you have
Save
a
money.
all the basics.
You did this yourself. You went to the banks. So this is all you.
Yeah, some people opened doors for me. I gotta admit, some people introduced me to people.
But it was your influence.
And
That's what it's about.
yeah, I just want us to know where we're going in life, because if not, they're going to end up in a pitfall.
Right.
Can you transfer all this energy and influence to other people? Because you have this special gift going on for you, and you got it from somewhere.
Right.
How do you transfer it to when you're in the classroom? Is everyone open to it?
Yes, I think the energy is when you're exposed to it. When you see someone who is when I was growing up, I never knew the mayor, right? To be honest, I never seen a lawyer who looked like me before until I got to Boca. I'm from Titusville, which is very rural and country. It's a different.
Cape Canaveral's up
Cape
there.
Canaveral.
I go there a lot.
So it's a different area.
That's a good place to be, but it is a different area.
It's so slow paced. There's no
Yeah, it is.
economic growth.
Right.
So there's not a lot of big corporations or industry anywhere. So you won't really see a lot of engineers unless they work for Cape Canaveral, right? So coming down here, I saw everything, right? And I wanted those kids to see that it's possible outside of entertainment and sports, because honestly, that's their focus. It's a very narrow focus.
Well, that's where they know money can be made. I mean, and you know what? There's been some great entertainers and athletes that have done great jobs.
Great.
I mean, the Michael
Philanthropic.
Jordans that are out there doing things, Shaquille O'Neal, Irvin Magic Johnson, that are really impacting from the sports side their neighborhoods and businesses.
Yeah.
But it's very specific, and unless they're going into a field, but the margin of making it at that level,
It's a lottery ticket.
and that's why exactly, and that's why what you do is important, because they have to make sure you have a foundation,
Right.
because that's that's like jumping out with a parachute,
Right.
It's a big risk to bank everything just on that.
But if you've been poor all your life, I mean, no one can really tell you that information.
Right.
Right? Especially if you don't have any family members who are successful or have a
There's no credibility.
Nothing.
They're like, what are you telling me? You live
Exactly.
on my block.
Right. So
It's like
and then that's what it is. So
that's awesome.
it's been the community that has made this organization successful.
But I'm fascinated about all this coming from you, from where you came from, and you're sitting there thinking about all this.
Right.
Something must have triggered you besides your mom. You must have seen something to come up with the whole scenario of what people are going to do, and then get people involved. Weren't you? There must have been some fear.
I was super scared, but I think it was Boca Raton. That what inspired me. Coming from a very country area to Boca Raton, like I never saw a Lamborghini before. and kids had it. Students pulled up to an FAU and Lamborghinis. So that just inspired me to say, like, we can do so much.
Anything's possible.
So much wealth is here.
Sure.
Right? There was not a lot of BMWs in Titusville or Mercedes-Benz, right? Most everyone had pickup trucks. So that's just the culture there.
It's a different
So how many schools you in now?
So we're in 19. So from Jacksonville to Miami. This semester alone, we have 5 schools, and we're actually piloting a middle school.
This is a full-time business for you.
Full-time business.
Right. Do you have staff?
I have 2 staff members.
Great,
right?
good for you.
And a great board.
How do you market this?
Oh, well, we market it as a mentoring program. Most schools don't really have after-school activities for students, and most schools don't talk about what we're talking about. No high school is teaching a kid how to be an entrepreneur at all. So schools have built, this program has built credibility that most schools demanded. It's a matter of how do we find time to be everywhere. So the demand is there. The people love it. It's a great culture that we're building.
How do people find you?
Our website, usually SuitsForSeniors.com, but it's a lot of word of mouth, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Right?
It always is.
Yeah,
Well, if you look
3
at your
degrees of
Facebook
separation.
page, he knows everybody. I mean, every time I see somebody, there's another celebrity, there's another political person, there's another. Because how do they find out about it? Because when they find it, they must love it. You're changing the mindset of so many people.
People with great hearts, they're all a part of it. And I've been fortunate to be on boards like the South Florida Fair, work with people in the Economic Council, just great people who know other people and give me opportunity. Like this opportunity right here, this only good people give me this. And that's how I've been able to spread the word.
Same with all of us. And we're all where we are because people help us get there. None of us get there alone.
Mentoring is everything.
It is. And, you know, we'll connect on Facebook. I told you just before we started, I have a program that we give away to students and schools and faculty caught in the crossfire because there's shootings every week. I was in Toronto, and it was like every other day there's a shooting going on somewhere.
In Toronto?
No, just all over the United States.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But there were 2 in Toronto over a 30-day period. They weren't in schools, but they were in neighborhoods.
Which is abnormal.
So it's a phenomenon that's happening.
It's scary.
We'll catch up, but it's so important because, you know, like you say, it's the gaps of things that people aren't teaching.
Right.
And thankfully now, because so many people have been shot and killed, unfortunately, you know, police departments are now being able to go into schools and teach, you know, readiness and so forth. But what you're doing is one of those gap things as well. How do you prepare for life outside of the scholastic view that you have?
I think the issue with that, though, is, and it's why it's going to keep happening, unfortunately, these kids want attention.
Sure.
And they're not getting it from somewhere. And they say, if I can be this person that ends up on TV, whether it's good or bad.
Famous or infamous.
Infamous. I mean, it's scary. There was like a challenge maybe a year ago, months ago, where they were setting themselves on fire in the bathroom. I don't know if you ever saw that. But
No, I did not. No.
What are you doing?
Right.
So they'll do anything for it. And that's the scariest thing. People are desperate.
And that shows you that when, you know, you said before the show, you know, what's your why? Yeah, Chet, what's your why? You know, that's why.
We almost have the same why.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing this to bring light to things that are dark.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
And a lot of these kids are doing that. They don't know their why. So they need attention to feel good because they're empty inside.
That's scary.
So lack of faith, lack of vision, lack of training, all these things that are impactful. And if they don't get it, they end up void.
No one even talks about faith, and that's,
it's
that's
hard
a whole
to do.
deeper topic.
It's hard to do today, but I do it in the corporate world.
Yeah.
I train Fortune 550 companies on, and part of mine is mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, life-challenging basis on stress.
Right.
So there's a way to do it.
Right.
But it's just getting people to understand where those lines are, and it's okay to talk about it. We have to, because nothing's going to change if we don't.
And I love that, because yours is like very full circle and encompasses everything. And that's it's a very beautiful thing to see these days, because people have one of the 5, but never just discuss it at all.
That's correct.
Hey, tell me about some successes. Tell a story.
I love the kids. First of all, 95% of our kids go off to college. Okay, so
That's awesome.
100%
That's
graduate high school.
in your program.
In my program. Right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
100% graduate high school. They're going to graduate high school. We're not worried about that. It's the aftermath, right? So we have 700 graduates. 95% are in college. The remaining have gotten a job or started their own business,
Which is great.
It's phenomenal, right? So the stories I love is the stories of when our police officers come in and they like flip the kids' perspective of who they are. And they see them as humans. And then when the police officers recruit the kids, we've had maybe about 7 to 10 kids going to the West Palm Beach Police Academy now.
Wow.
So things like that, and they come from homes with 7, 8 brothers living in a 2-bedroom home, right?
Yeah.
And now they're on their way to make more money than their mom,
Right.
coming out of the police academy. Just different perspective. There was another girl named Tatiana from Palm Beach Lakes. She had a 1.0 GPA. I didn't know that, right? And I think she told me it was different when she first met me because maybe she was embarrassed about it. At the graduation ceremony, she told everybody, and she cried, and it went from a 1.0 to a 2.5 just because she was in that program, and everybody around her was encouraging her to be successful. And now she's going to go to Palm Beach State. So it just those.
That's awesome.
She never thought she could even go to college. No one was pushing her.
Sure.
Right. So it's tough.
It's hard to do what you can't see or believe, and that's why a program like yours is really important, because if you could show them a glimpse of this is possible, like you said, you go to Boca Raton and go like, well,
Wow.
I could do this.
I got to tell you, your job is when you go home at night, you know you make a difference. People go to work and do things, but you're making a difference in the future, humanity, and people's self-esteem and how they feel about themselves. I mean, how can you get rewarded? I mean, the rewards are coming back left and right.
Yes. Watching those kids graduate.
Who has backed you? Who has taken the time so that we can get the message out for you? Because I think this
Sponsors, people that, you've mentioned some of them, but
we have a lot of great sponsors. Almost every city has sponsors, from West Palm Beach to Delray to Boynton. Almost every law enforcement agency has sponsored us.
So tell us, if somebody's listening to this and want to sponsor, what do they do?
Essentially, they just reach out to me or find me on social media or website. My number is 321-604-7590. I'm not shy about sharing it, but we have people from FP&L, Quantum Foundation to Rubenstein Law Group. We have a plethora of sponsors. Capital One, Quantum Foundation, the Community Foundation, the Miami Foundation. Most of those organizations that give, United Way, we're a part of, and we have a lot of private donors and just great relationships.
So people that go to your website can go there and get engaged and connect with you as well.
Repeat the website again.
So the website is www, of course, .suitsforseniors.com. And we have sponsorship package ranging from 1,000 to 50,000, and we have sponsors that have covered all those different types of packages.
Nice.
Who donates the suits?
Who donates? So we work with a clothing store in Boynton Beach Mall called New York Men's Clothing. So he doesn't donate it; we actually pay for it. So we're actually helping a local small business as well.
That's awesome.
So we don't want to just take. We kind of want to make sure we help the community. So that's why we make sure we help a lot of different small businesses in our agencies to lift everybody up.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This has been exciting. This is a great conversation. Before you go away, is there something you want to say that we didn't ask you that will be a powerful message?
2 things. It was more of a ask than anything. We love financial support. That is huge for us. That's what keeps us running, our doors open. It keeps our clothing center in Riviera Beach running as well. But we ask more for opportunities to let our students intern at your job site, right? Because over the summer when they graduate, we want to make sure that their time is filled before they go to college.
Yes.
And we ask for mentors in general. That's it. So we love people who open their doors for internships, and we love mentors.
Well, we'd be glad to help out also in any way possible.
Yeah, contact me. I'll be glad to challenge any of your students on stress management.
I love it.
Growing up and getting into the real world.
I love it. And they'll take that.
Okay. Give us information. Remember, at the end of this, I want to make sure that everyone has every possible way to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
So you can go on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all the same. Suits, SUITS, FORSENIORS, Suits for Seniors. And our website, suitsforseniors.com.
Cool. I'll hit you up when we get out of here.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, that was a powerful interview, and I'm glad that you're making changes in the world today. This has been Influence Today with Chet Tart, Terry Lyles, and our special guest, Tay from Suits for Seniors. I want to make sure I get that right.
It was perfect.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you next time on Influence Today.